Hi, everyone. Welcome to Analyze Your Trade, episode number 5 for September 26, 2017. My name is David Kosmeter, and I'm the creator of TimingResearch.com. Tonight, we will be discussing your trade ideas. And we had 55 people submit up to 5 symbols each this week, and I have put together the list of the most frequently requested symbols. And you should see that on your screen while I'm talking now. So we will be going through at least the top 5 of those, and then if you have any live suggestions, you can type it into the live chat box, and we might be able to talk about some of those too later in the show. I developed this show with Dean Jenkins of FollowMeTrades.com, but he's off this week as moderator, and I have Matt Buckley here, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to him. And Matt, I think you're muted.
Awesome, man. I appreciate that. Always, when you call on the B team, you got to think of Matt Buckley, Top Gun Options. I appreciate that. So, love to be the B team. No, I'm kidding, guys. Extremely fired up for the new Analyze Your Trade here with Timing Research. David's got a great program, and I'm always honored to host, especially with an august group that we have tonight. Especially one of my partners here. We got Mike Pisani from Alpha Shark. We got the infamous and famous, it's like flammable and inflammable, John Thomas. He's the mad hedge fund trader. He and I are good buddies, former Marine naval aviator, and Mike Filighera from Logical Signals. Worked with Mike before as well. Hey guys, let's keep that batting order all through tonight, and we can always jump in and kind of like our little NFL, oops, I said it, NFL debate before we got on the air here. We can all just jump in as we go through. But Mike, JT, then Michael. How about we do that? Mike, JT, Mike Goal. Give us a quick executive summary of who you are, from larvae to where you are today, and your trading background and what you do at Alpha Shark and JT and Logical Signals there, the mad hedge fund trader. So Mike, over to you first.
Hey, thanks again for having me on, David and Matt. Really appreciate being back on with you guys. So I work over at Alpha Shark. I'm one of their mods there. I've been trading since the financial crash after 2008. It took me about 2 years to find my way from stocks into options and realize the power of leverage and love it. So what I do now is I monitor the option flow. I call it out live, and I use technical analysis to help set up my trades. So when I really will either take a trade on technical analysis or sometimes on pure option flow, but when those two line up, man, that's when I get my home runs. And also the option flow tells me the overall sentiment in the market. So I can tell which way the market is going or not going, or if it really just doesn't know based upon the flow. So I do that for Alpha Shark. I also do mentoring and help people learn over at Smart Option Trading. So if you want to get a hold of me, Mike, you can get at me at mike@smartoptiontrading.com or on Twitter at OptionsMike.
Awesome, Mike. Welcome aboard. And Mike's from Jersey. I'm from Jersey, so we were talking about eating cheesesteaks and stuff before. I'm actually, the Philadelphia Flyers are on team too, since I'm boycotting the NFL. But folks, listen to what Mike had to say as an options trader. He follows flow. That's a pretty big. If you visualize a shark with those little remoras swimming along, you can make a pretty good living trading flow. In the old days, it was a little bit easier when people, wore jackets in the pits. Here comes, Steve from Goldman Sachs into the pits, buy, 100,000 Apple, 200 October calls. People would look and go, holy crap, that dude's not an idiot. That's a lot of money. He must know something. So it's changed a little bit electronically, but guys like Mike can still follow that flow, and it could be an indicator of some good stuff, either to the upside or the downside. So welcome aboard, Mike. And then, folks, John Thomas. He's if you don't know him, you should. He's the mad hedge fund trader. I'm actually I have a good partnership with JT. I run his mad options trader service. So he's the brains and I'm the muscle. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's JT. So, JT, give us your executive summary. And remember, we only have about 2 to 3 minutes for this, because this guy literally, if you looked at his Rolodex, I'm pretty sure you met Abraham Lincoln, right? Lay it on us.
One of my first clients.
I believe it.
So I'm John Thomas, founder, publisher, and CEO of the Mad Hedge Fund Trader. We publish the Diary of a Mad Hedge Fund Trader, which is a daily research service looking all asset classes, long and short. We trade stocks, bonds, commodities, precious metals, energy, real estate, and anything that moves, looking for long and short ideas. Newsletter's 10 years old. I've been trading since 1963, and still wish I had some of the stocks I bought back then. You can find us at madhedgefundtrader.com, and love participating in these kind of events, always looking for new ideas and new trading opportunities.
Awesome. And folks, if you're interested, John and I will be drinking a lot of this in about, a little over a month from now up in his neck of the woods in Lake Tahoe with the Mad Hedge Fund Trader and Top Gun Options live event, which we can talk about later. And Michael from Logical Signals, man, give us a little bit of your executive summary.
Okay. I'm Michael Filighera. I am based in San Francisco, which is where I live. My background is that I am an ex-options market maker. I have traded on the Pacific Exchange here, on the London Traded Options Market, on the European Options Exchange in Amsterdam, and on the DTB in Germany. Came back, finished that side of my career here in San Francisco. When I retired, I kind of set up here at home, and I switched from basically trading options to trading futures. I am a volatility trader, and I study a lot of the movement of volatility, what creates it, but also probabilities, kind of added the two. And so I still am your basic premium seller in options. But I have focused more on futures. And you can get a hold of me at just by michael@logicalsignals.com.
Awesome, Michael. Appreciate it. And so you're right in the neck of the JT or Lake Tahoe right now, right? You're not in.
No, I'm in Oakland, so I'm just across the bay from Michael.
Oh yeah.
Foggy where he is and sunny where I am.
Exactly. Well, Michael, it's good. It's good to hear. I think I'm going to use my 51% of the vote as a moderator here. I think we had some votes tied for fifth. We're going to talk about the VIX, man, because as an options guy, this is stupid, ridiculous cheap when you got the leader of the free world threatening to obliterate, so to speak, another country. I mean, a VIX at 10 is just, it's stupid. So there's a lot of options traders on here tonight. We gotta talk about that stuff. But all right, guys. So David's got up the stocks here. Shocker at the top of the batting order, Mike from Alpha Shark, is Apple. What are your thoughts on Apple? What's your trade on Apple? Love it, hate it. I laughed, I cried. It was better than cats. I traded again and again. What, Mike? Take it away with Apple.
So, Apple is in the middle of this little bit of sell-off, and we filled this gap after an event that, honestly, I still can't figure out that last event. Why would you come out with an iPhone 8 with an iPhone 10 a month and a half later? That's twice the price.
Yes.
So now we have this nice pullback. We filled the gap here. And I actually traded it yesterday. I had a nice scalp on it long, and I did not get back in today. I decided to leave it be. So today was the easy bounce. We came down. We're getting oversold on RSI, but we didn't even get back to the 8-day. And option flow, I mean, today they were hitting some of the October 155s and the 160 calls, but they were split ticket. These weren't sweepers. These weren't the guys that come pouring in saying, I want this and I want this now. These were guys negotiating prices with the market makers. So they weren't in a rush to get their hands on these options. I think it all really kind of comes down to Trump tomorrow. If his tax reform has repatriation, I think Apple screams. I think this leads the Qs, and the Qs take off, and we go higher. If there's no repatriation, I'm looking for that first red line at 146, and then maybe down to 142.
Mike, I'm a political science major. Help the retail traders. Repatriation.
So repatriation would be Apple has most of their 200+ billion overseas at this point, and maybe a rate of 15% to allow them to bring that cash back over and pay a 15% tax instead of what is it, 30 or 35% tax today.
Don't get me started. As most of us are small business owners, the corporate, Apple pays what, an effective corporate tax rate of 0.
Yeah.
So
and
it's
sitting full 41.
Yeah, exactly. So it's sitting of $250 quadrillion is sitting in County Cork, Ireland. So if that doesn't happen, Mike, what do you think happens to an Apple?
I think we're looking at 46 area and then maybe 42 at that point before the iPhone 10 comes out, or earnings. Earnings will save it possibly.
Wow, look at that. All right, so he's got his double lines up there. All right, Mike, or I'm sorry, we'll go to JT. JT, he teed you up. What are your thoughts on Apple? What's your trade?
You know, we played Apple from the long side up until July, then sold everything. Since then, we've been doing iron condors, buying call spreads on every big dip, buying put spreads on every big rally. And I think Apple shot its wad for the year. I think we basically have a sideways time correction for the rest of the year or until the iPhone 10 comes out. You basically have had a stock go up 40% on a 20% earnings growth. And you need time for the earnings to catch up with the stock price. That's why you're suddenly getting rotation out of the FANGs and Apple into all the domestics like financials, transports, steel, and so on.
Mm-hmm. So you're looking at maybe if this thing trades sideways till the end of the year, or what's your feeling on earnings, JT? I mean, it always seems like Apple's the serial under promise and over deliver. What's your feeling on earnings this time around?
Yeah, I think it's more of the same. I think they'll announce good earnings, and if they don't announce good earnings, then everyone will expect the earnings will come in the next quarter. Apple's always getting the benefit of the doubt. That's why the stock's nearly doubled in 15 months. So right now I'm going to play the range probably till the rest of the year. Same with the rest of the FANGs. And, I'm playing the market from the domestic side from here on.
Okay, roger that. Michael, what are you thinking with the big A here with Apple?
I think that, hold on, I just want to do, I've not done screen share, and so now I'm going to put it up. So share, and there we go.
You're live, man. Yep, we got it.
Okay. My basic form of analysis when I'm looking at a stock or an index is that I use Elliott Wave. And so I am a technical analyst. I don't deal in fundamentals, and neither does Elliott Wave. Now, when I take a look at Apple, I think Apple is got tons and tons and tons of cash, as we've already said. And so I think that as a company, Apple survives pretty much anything. But I see that it, coming right off of its high here at 164, almost 165. And again, as John had said, it is pulling back. And so it's going through a correction. And so what I've run is just some fibs coming off. And you can see that it hasn't even gotten down, 23 or 24% of a giant rally. I mean, I can just pull this next chart up, and you can see the rally that I'm measuring is from April of last year till the end of August when it hit its high. So it's got a lot of space. So again, I'm going to agree with what John is saying. There's a very high probability that Apple will just move sideways as it continues to correct. So it'll be more of what I would consider like a flat correction. And then wherever this bottoms out and then rallies back up, it's likely that's going to be the trading range until this is done. And as John said, it could take for the rest of the year. I don't know. I think right now that we are that low at just below 150 will probably hold, and the market will rally, and I would look like it probably will rally back up towards 155, 157, maybe even get as high as 160. I don't think so, but maybe 157. And then if it's going to continue sideways, then I would expect it higher. If not, then it drops, and it drops probably back down towards 135, 136.
Yeah,
and again, that would be the next quarter.
Yeah, then you're looking at a falling knife. I mean, the death of Apple, what was it, guys, a year ago was greatly over exaggerated. Remember when it zipped through 100 and all these headlines were like, is it over with for Apple? And we know what happened after that. So, okay, and so let me share my screen. So I think we teed this one up nicely. Here's first of all, guy, Apple ain't going out of business anytime soon. The FANG stocks plunged the most in 3 months. Apple nears a correction. Oh my goodness. You know what, guys? The Apple. Here's what's beautiful about you're talking to a lot of options traders or listening to a lot of options traders, folks. We can hop in our whoever wrote that, sorry about that. I'm Matthew Buckley, Whiz from Top Gun Options. My parents liked me, as far as I know. I earned that call sign flying a Hornet for the Navy, and then took my retail trading, really applied everything I was learning flying fighters, having a strategy, implementing tactics, contingency planning, all that stuff, and ended up popping up on the radar of one of the largest vol-arb firms and volatility arbitrage firms in the country called Peak 6 Investments in the Chicago Board of Trade. So I went from one side of the fence to the other, and then now I'm down here in South Florida. So my apologies. I've let everybody else intro. So thank you. But as far as this, guys, Apple is that serial under promise and over deliver. And Mikey nailed it with, or whoever said, or Michael with here's the iPhone 11, here's the iPhone 19, here's the, come on, guys, seriously. They really need to start innovating here. I think they will. Remember, Steve Jobs never be, even if they come up with an app to replicate people, he ain't going to be replicated. The guy was a tyrant. He'd go up to a whiteboard, map out some really freaking cool stuff, and then turn and look at a booger eater like Tim Cook and say, make it happen. That's the issue I see with Apple. But at the end of the day, a couple of years from now, it's a $300-400 stock easily. So here's the tactic. I actually, in the Mad Options Trader and the TGO live trade briefs today, that funny enough, we did it's called a long call diagonal with a protective put. So I hopped in my my super speed Hornet here, and we flew out all the way out to January 20, and we bought what is called a deep in the money call. I just, after doing this for almost a quarter of a century, I buy the deep in the money 80 Delta call. Don't know what Delta is, don't worry about it. I don't want your eyes to glaze over. Just know that the deeper in the money, it's got some meat on the bones. It's got extrinsic, intrinsic value. So it ain't cheap, but it ain't super. It's not a 1 Delta call. And then what I do is I sell what is called front month. That was a front month, man. You're sitting in it. September, October, those are the front months. I sell, and Michael, I think you said the 155, 157.5. So it's right there. I'm selling some front month upside 157.5 calls to do what? Bring in some nice car payments, man. Buying this deep in the money 80 Delta call was like buying a Ferrari down here in Lauderdale, man. I want a sugar daddy or sugar mama if you're so inclined. So I'm selling those. And then this bottom put here, I call a disaster put, because if you don't have this underneath it, first of all, it's like, as John will tell you, flying in combat without an ejection seat is just stupid, but it also reduces your haircut or your margin. So this is what we call a long call diagonal with a protective put, where you can be bipolar, so to speak, and so am I. You can be long-term bullish all the way out to Jan 20, but you can be short-term neutral or even a little bit bearish, because like Mike, I think everybody kind of agreed, is Apple's looking at just a little bit of a, here's that, I think, Mike, you were talking about, where's that 3 months ago? Where's the 3 month chart? Yeah, or 6 month. Here's that Friday. Remember this Friday, guys? It was that tech wreck, they called it, right? And then Monday morning, we're like, is this real? Yeah. And then we had this thing. So this implosion right here after the selling the news from their event, whenever it was last week, I need about a day or two to see if this is a dead cat bounce. No offense to any feline people in the room here, but I need one more day to see if this is legit, or if John and Michael are right, and we just kind of move sideways here. And folks, when you're an options trader, if something starts moving sideways, as John said, we doesn't matter if something's going up, down, or sideways, we have a tactic for it. So that's kind of my take on Apple. Like I said, I don't care where Apple's going. I have a Jan 19 trade on it, but we can also trade the front month here, as John said, with some bull put spreads, bear call spreads, like Michael said, right around this level. So I think we're all kind of pretty much in agreement. Mike, JT, or Michael, you guys got any closing thoughts on Apple around the room?
Yeah, set up the iron condors. It's like having a rich uncle give you a check every month. Just wait for the stock to, climb up to 157, 158, and then you got your short, cover your long, and then play the other side. Yeah. I think it's going to be boring for a while, and the action goes to other sectors.
Right. I agree with what JT is saying. I think that if Apple is indeed going to just kind of sit in a range and not do much, I like your trade, Matt. Mm-hmm. But you're going to want to be short premium, because you need the theta. You want to have a little positive theta there. You need putting some cash in the account. And to get it done on a daily basis is great. And in Apple, that's not hard to do.
Correct.
Apple has really sweet premium, and so you can set up your trades very similar to what you just did. You know,
awesome. Mike, you got anything on Apple, buddy?
Yeah, again, I would just watch tomorrow what Trump says, because if there's repatriation, I think you're going to see a rally in the queues. They've been sold off for the last 2 weeks. And I'm not saying it's going to get all time highs, but I'd bow some calls on it, and I'd take it back up to that 157, 158 area, and then I'd get out of it.
Mike, I don't think this is to be understated, man. Listen to what Mike's saying, guys. If Trump, if it's a swing and a miss tomorrow, it could be bad.
Yeah.
This whole freaking Republican clown car, we can vote 63 times to repeal Obamacare under Obama, but under Republican, we can't do it once. So if the market smells fear or a clown car around this tax reform, man, we're in trouble. But Mike's folks, if they're allowed to bring that pot of gold back from County Cork, Ireland, man, look at Carl Icahn. He's foaming at the mouth to yell at Tim Cook to buy back more shares. I think we have a rip your face off, man, in the fangs, because they're looking. I think you're right, Mike. That sell-off, it was profit taking. It's not like we're going back to using wax tablets and carrier pigeons anytime soon, man. Tech is tech. Reason to sell off. Now we got a reason for everybody to jump back in the pool tomorrow if
we've rotated out of that sector into other names for the last week and a half. It's
a great
a nice pullback.
I don't think the Trump announcement is a factor. You know, every tax proposal we've gotten this year has been one page with bullet points and no details. And if he does the same tomorrow, that will be what the market expects, because that's all we've seen so far. That's all we may see until next year.
I don't disagree, John. It's funny you say that, because I've told our members that's exactly right. Each one of these, when Mnuchin and who was it, Khan, got up there and gave their 1-page brief, a 10-minute brief, and took no questions, I'm like, that was it. So
yeah. I think nothing for 6 months.
Well, exactly. That's why I think if, like I just said, if tomorrow's a swing and a miss, look out below. If they actually put some meat on the bones, I think Mike's right, and we see
and all tech, look out below. I mean, we're looking at like some big time sell-offs tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't see a big sell-off even without repatriation. You know, what are they going to do with that money if they bring it home? Answer, buy stock, because they don't need cash. What are they doing with it with its overseas? Answer, they buy stock. You know, except they're doing it in a tax-free account. So it really makes no difference one way or the other. Apple can leave that stock, that money overseas forever, and just keep buying their own stock from overseas instead of at home.
I agree with you on principle, but I think this market is looking for ways to roll over. And if they smell, everybody knows they're all idiots when it comes to trying to repeal Obamacare. But if now they're all pointing their bullseye, you know, their firepower at oh, we're going to get huge tax reform. If it's a swing and a miss tomorrow, man, I don't think it's a matter of fundamentals. I think it's a matter of, holy shit, this whole hope and change rally. Yeah, I said it. We need potatoes. But guys, let's move on, because we dropped anchor on Apple too long, and that's my fault. All right, Walmart. I'm going to go first by saying I saw a great post on Facebook that said Halloween horror house idea. Dimly lit Walmart with all your friends from high school you haven't seen in decades. So I'll start with that joke. So Mike, how about you and Walmart? What's your thought on Walmart there?
You know, they're the only real retailer that competes against Amazon online at this point, which is just interesting to me. I have a chart up. I'm not sure, is it showing?
Yes.
Okay. It's kind of got a little rising wedge going here, action, and you have stiff resistance right here at this 60-50 level. I'm sorry, 80-50 level right now. I haven't seen any kind of call buying in this thing of note lately that gets me excited about it, or any kind of put buying. Or the option flow has been pretty dead. You can play it off the bottom of this channel. It's lost momentum. It's below the 8 and the 21-day again. It's clean to the 50-day. I really don't love this setup in it right now, but Costco has earnings next week, so if they're good, you could see a bump here at Walmart. I'll leave it at that.
Okay, good. JT, are you a Walmart guy? What's your thoughts on Walmart?
You know, I have to tell you that in 10 years of writing a newsletter, the most vicious comments I ever received was from a story I wrote that said half the employees at Walmart are missing their front teeth. Having said that, I just don't buy the retail story. I think, you know, Amazon's taking over the world. There's no way Walmart's going to beat Amazon. I just don't see any real argument behind the stock. So I'll cede this one to someone else.
The gentleman from California greatly gives his time to the gentleman from Oakland, or no, Mike, where are you again? You're in Oakland, right?
John is in Oakland. I'm in San Francisco.
Yeah, oh, that's right. You're on the better side of the fence. All right, he yields his time to the gentleman from San Fran. So what do you think about Walmart?
What I find interesting is that Mike was saying, that the resistance sits at 80.50. I think that's the number you use, Mike. And I was just looking at options, what traded today. Somebody came in within the last hour and sold the October 80 straddle 3,000 times.
There you go.
And yeah, exactly. So, when I was looking, you were talking about the options, and I took a quick look, and I thought, well, that's putting the line in the sand. For me, and sorry, I keep forgetting that I need to load the chart. Give me 1 sec. Share this one, and we're good. The same thing in all these markets I'm finding is that Walmart, if we take a look at the weekly chart, again running Fibonacci's, and that's right from the top that we saw in 2015 all the way down to the low that we saw in 2016. It's just been a rebound rally. It's just been recovery. And it stopped just below a Fibonacci number that I don't normally use, but it's still valid. And that's almost 79% of a retracement, which is huge. I see the wedge, and if we bring it down even to a daily chart, you can see the wedge even more. And I think the stock is just about ready to roll over. It's not pulling a lot of momentum in this final little rally that it's done since July. It's not pulling up any momentum here. And so that kind of tells me it's getting tired, and they're beginning to look at other things. Then I take a look at the options. I see that somebody's drawn the line in the sand at $80. And if it goes above 80, you're going to see a lot of movement because somebody's going to have to kind of adjust. And then if it drops too far below, same deal. They're gonna either take profit or they're gonna make further adjustments. I think you're gonna have some support around 77.55. But if all's said and done, and this recovery is finished, then it's look out below.
Yeah, so I'm a little with JT on this one. I'm not a retail guy. I got to be honest with you, man. The times I've traded retail, I'm like, oh my God, people, when McDonald's is going up and the Happy Meals, and people are broke, I'm like short retail. And then all of a sudden the conference board's consumer confidence numbers or retail sales numbers come out through the roof. I'm like, it does the exact opposite of what I would expect, and that's when I put myself on the pine. But it's a nice segue because I'm going to kick off the next symbol, which is Amazon. Walmart, folks, seriously, my little joke about a haunted house is the only retailer, if I am going to trade retail, and I do with my members, is the Death Star known as Amazon. My God, Amazon could eat Walmart, and I think it will, literally. So let's go to Amazon, folks. I think if we all chipped in together, we could do maybe one contract of one long call diagonal just because of the stock price. But that doesn't preclude you from doing front month bull put spreads or anything like that. Could not be more bullish on Amazon. I can't stand Jeff Bezos and other of my friends on the left coast, the limousine liberals. Doesn't matter. I go Gordon Gekko in these. I wear a flight suit and I'll give you my opinion, and then I'll put my Gordon Gekko suit on and go, I don't care. Amazon's the Death Star. I read a report a couple months ago that he was thinking of buying, or he actually did. He's leasing, what was it? He's leasing 5. I flew like for 10 months for FedEx, guys, in the full interest of disclosure. I hated it when it put a bullet in my head and I was 30, flying the backside of the clock.
Was he the guy that got stranded on that island?
Yeah, exactly. I still have my volleyball. We're very close friends.
Yes.
Folks, he's doing the, who was it? My mind always blanks on Carnegie, Rockefeller. Who's the guy who said, why do I just own the oil wells when I can own the rail, the timber, the whole thing? So Jeff Bezos is like, why am I paying UPS and FedEx to fly my crap when I can own he will either buy a FedEx or UPS or make his own? Couldn't be more bullish on Amazon. Get into this thing on pullbacks. It's stupid to not be in Amazon. It will destroy every other Whole Foods, even Costco. I go to the Boca Raton Costco here, God's waiting room. It'll be obliterated soon because you'll have drones delivering stuff to you. So, Mike, over to you, man. What's your take on Amazon?
Oh, Amazon's been very good to me, both on the long and the short side this year. So I've been real happy with it. 2 weeks ago I was talking, I thought it was going to be a screaming long. We got that one nice big candle, and then it sold off from there. And look how far it's come down in the last 2 weeks. It's really kind of plummeted here. So early this week, yesterday, they were trying to buy weekly calls, the 940s and the 935s, and obviously neither one of those worked. Last week they were buying the November 1050 calls with decent size into those. So that's one that has my attention a little bit. I do think it's vulnerable here. You have a potential head and shoulders top here. I think 920 is an easy fall right now to it. I agree long term with you, Matt. I think Amazon is one of the stocks to have long term. I think short term though, it's just not in a good spot right now. Technically, it's just off. It just doesn't look healthy.
Hey, Mike, real quick, because the memory is the second thing to go as you get old here. Is that, I'm not a huge technical guy, is that a triple bottom? I know you were looking at the tops, but is that bullish right now, or did it break through that third bottom right there that we're at right now?
It's kind of been playing through it. You know, it's been playing with it. It's
trying to decide whether it's time or not. Okay.
Whether that's top or not.
Yeah. So to me, it's a little extended down, but a little vulnerable here. And again, I think if Qs roll over, I think Amazon's your go-to short here for your first nice big move down. I think this one could drop 20 points in a day without a question at this point.
Sure. I mean, that's a decimal point, right? I mean, that's a rounding error. So, okay. So it looks like you're a trader of the front month here. JT, how about the Death Star, man? What do you think of Amazon?
Well, full disclosure, I did work with Jeff Bezos at Morgan Stanley, and he is a genius. Having said that, if you're long this stock and you're looking at that chart, you're going to be running for the head with the case of Montezuma's Revenge. You know, that is a classic head and shoulders top, if I ever saw one. So that says 10% lower. If we get the 10% or any part of that, you basically want to run out, get a second mortgage on your house, put all into Amazon calls, because this thing is going to keep going. You know, I was just at Amazon headquarters about 2 months ago, and the entire city of Seattle is just exploding because of the growth of that company. Amazon's looking to hire 10,000 engineers just to cover next year's growth. You know, just staggering numbers. 75 high-rises under construction in Seattle just to accommodate, you know, future Amazon employees. So, wow. And they're now moving into other markets like buying Whole Foods, creating their own FedEx, like you mentioned. By the way, they're only creaming off FedEx's most profitable routes. You know, well, another brilliant way to do this.
Well, and their most profitable business, which is either overnight. FedEx makes their money on overnight and same day. I mean, Amazon with the same day warehouses, and I mean, shit, they're going to be building aircraft carriers in the sky, warehouses in the sky here, most likely in our lifetime. So, John, do you think what's a good, if you get that 10%, you know, holy crap pullback, what's a good entry point for you?
That takes you down to 850, or if you can get anywhere near a 200-day moving average, that would be an entry point. But I kind of think we're not going to get down that far. The rest of the world's dying to get into this stock, but it has FANG disease right now. You know, they all peaked in July. They're all moving into broad sideways corrections for a 6-month period, and we're only 2 months into that 6-month period. So when they come out of that, they'll blast off to new highs to the upside, but going to be boring until then. You buy laggards now. You buy value laggards for the second half of this year.
I think
Amazon isn't one of those.
I think I had FANG disease on my first deployment on the Abraham Lincoln to Iraq. Mike, what do you think about Amazon?
That's what you get for not using a surge protector.
I got penicillin. Michael, what do you think about Amazon?
I actually I like Amazon. I am like everybody else on the panel today. Is my screen showing, by the way?
Somebody's is. There's an Amazon chart up there.
No, Mike, that's no, now you are. You're good. Go ahead.
Okay. again, I'm a huge fan of Amazon. I think that it's Jeff Bezos has a business model that is to envy, and it says nothing whether I respect him as a human being or not. It just says that this is a very successful company, and I agree that off of the top in July, it's doing nothing more than just putting in a well-deserved and well-earned correction. Now, I see that we can see here that it's already reached 38% retracement of the massive rally from 2014 up to the high. So that was a nice rally, and it's just going to come back. Now, what fits is, like John was saying, that it could go drop another 10%. That 10% drops it down to the 50% retracement. If it goes the full 10%, it drops it down to the 61.8% retracement. Both are beautiful Fibonacci numbers. Both are points where you buy. I look at. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Michael.
I think it's like around 895. You just, if it looks, to me, if the pattern looks complete, if the decline looks complete at that level, you start taking it in, you start loading it up. Here again, I had put up, Amazon options. Somebody drawn a line in the sand, but they're doing it at 985. Mm-hmm. They bought the Nov 985 straddle. Yeah. So, that's always interesting because you can kind of start to piece together what somebody else is thinking. But right. like you mentioned in the beginning, we don't know who it is because it's anonymous, because everything's electronic. So we don't know if it's a major player such as Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, et cetera, or if it's just a huge, trading firm. So we don't know.
Or an idiot.
Put in the
or an algorithm, a rogue algorithm.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Could be an algorithm that's taking advantage. But somebody bought the premium versus selling it. So I think that it's somebody drawing a line. Yeah. And if they're doing it at 985, it's because they're really looking for this thing to sink.
So here's since we all got a little group think going on here, let me throw in a little red team right now. What would be the one thing, and I'm going to get into politics here, but stay neutral. What would be the one thing that would scare you out of being long-term bullish on Amazon? To me, it's the antitrust issue.
Oh, it's Trump and antitrust.
It's exactly, Mike. It's the antitrust issues, man. If this guy starts gobbling up, I don't need a FedEx. I don't need now, obviously, this guy a year and a half ago, Bezos, he said on stage when Trump was a candidate, he said, I'd love to put Trump on one of my rockets and shoot him into space. And then John and I, 3 o'clock phone call in the morning, election night, Jeff Bezos is tweeting out, congratulations, Mr. President. So obviously he could go the political route of I'm being persecuted by this administration for antitrust issues. But at the end of the day, if he does go the whatever the hell, Carnegie, whoever the hell did that, there's a lot of antitrust issues here, folks. But for the time being,
real quick? Let me make 2 points on that. The Republican Party is not the party of antitrust, for a start. Right.
Right.
Well, Donald Trump might be the party.
This is the party where you take your antitrust department, buy them an extended golf membership at one of Trump's clubs, and you never hear from them again. Second, what specific market are they actually dominating?
They're going to dominate everything.
But everything isn't a category in antitrust prosecution. It's not like they own 90% of the software market like Microsoft did. In the 90s, it's not like they owned 90% of oil distribution like the Standard Oil did in the 1900s, which created the original antitrust law. So, you can't, they may have 25% of sales of everything, but that is not an antitrust issue.
Well, I want to bring up a thing. Go ahead. Since Amazon bought Whole Foods, they had to finance that. They had to take that all on as debt. They got downgraded by the S&P because of it. And since then, we've heard rumors they're going to buy Kohl's. We've heard rumors they're going to buy one of the big pharmaceutical companies like CVS or somebody like that. CVS, I mean, everybody thinks they're going to be buying left and right. They're out of cash. They're not buying anybody for a little while they absorb Whole Food and start building their cash reserves back up and pay down some of this debt. I think everybody who thinks they're going to go out and buy the world and own everything's got to get a little bit of a grip.
Mike, I don't disagree, but we've also seen Jeff Bezos totally blow off. What was there? I remember trading on the Trade Monster platform a couple years ago, let's joke about the PE. they didn't have enough decimal points. The Trade Monster platform only went out to like three spots for PE. It was in the thousands.
Yeah, 999.
Correct.
Yeah.
So John, I'm gonna. So you're right. As of today, we're looking at a future of Amazon. Don't come on, man. This ain't we're not babe in the woods here. The Republicans, yeah, it might be the party of big business, or that's not the party of antitrust. We're talking about politics. And if they want to crap all over Jeff Bezos for him not being on board with Trump, hey, Moose, Rocco, file a couple SEC suits. So let's talk politics. Let's not talk what things should be like. So if they start gobbling up the world, I'm not talking about they are doing it today, but you think a Costco or a Walmart can survive when you press order on Amazon Prime and a drone, hey, you get a text alert that your drone's out front. That's what they're doing. Costco isn't doing it. Walmart isn't doing it.
The world or Alibaba?
I'm sorry?
Would you rather have Amazon take over the world or Alibaba? It's your choice.
Oh, you know what my answer would be. So what's I'm not getting that. So
why are we even talking about antitrust?
Because we all had groupthink on being long-term bullish on Amazon, and if the government wanted to, which is currently controlled by the clown car Republicans, wanted to create antitrust issues, I'm saying they could do it. You could, as anybody would say, you could indict a ham sandwich. And as we're seeing with some of the political shit. But let's move on, guys. Mike, let's go to the top of the order. I want to go with Goldman Sachs because I went from being sell the house, sell the kids, get long Goldman Sachs before the election, where we had members who traded 20 contracts and made 150 grand as we got long-term bullish on Goldman Sachs. And then I sold the shit out of it, and I can't stand Goldman Sachs. But Mike, where are you with Goldman Sachs?
I've actually been trading it well the last couple of weeks. They were buying the January 250 calls. They actually came back and they've hit them a couple more times. So it's been the laggard, right? In the banks, they've been wanting to really have the ones that haven't really moved as much. They've wanted Bank of America and they've wanted Citibank. I mean, those two on the options market have been screaming nonstop. Now we've seen Morgan Stanley sprinkling in, and JP Morgan always gets a decent amount of buying at this point. I'm looking at Goldman Sachs that if we get some of this tax reform and stuff, that this thing might just break and give you a catch-up play. And the one reason I like to trade Goldman Sachs, because unlike Bank of America and options, which can just be tough, that thing doesn't move fast enough a lot of times to really take advantage of the option, the way they decay. Goldman Sachs moves like a high beta stock. This thing could move you $10 in a day. You can get a nice quick move on this thing. And to your point, Matt, that's how your guys made all that money. That thing screamed forever. And it, you didn't have to worry about the theta decay on your options at that point. It was just running and screaming. Yep. So I sold my 250s just before the Fed. I don't like to take options into a binary event. It's just not my style. And I've been debating buying them back the last couple of days, back into those January 250s. I do think it can find its way back to all-time highs if the banks are going to rip.
And it's interesting. I got a couple wizards. When interest rates are low, stocks will grow. Interest rates are high, stocks will die. The only exception to that is what, Mike, as you alluded to, is the banks. You drive by, banks can't make money in this near zero rate environment. So if Aunt Janet gets off, gets on her flight plan here and starts doing a little bit of ratchet up, you're right. I think this whole consolidation range that screams. We've been trading iron condors on Goldman Sachs for 4 or 5 months, man. Look at that thing. So you're right. I think it's at a little bit of a precipice here. That's exactly right.
And just Yellen was a little bit hawkish today in her speech, if you guys heard it. And all of a sudden, Goldman Sachs ripped like $2 within like 5 minutes. I mean, I think there's I think this one wants to go, but you got to wait for it. You can't sit there and just try to get one, or you have to do like a bull. I would do a bull put spread if you want to sit and wait, just so you reduce your risk, so you're not sitting in calls.
Love being a seller of time decay, man. Like Michael said. JT, what's your take on the what used to be my opinion, the Death Star in the financials?
Well, this was going to be my #1 favorite stock pick, Goldman Sachs. And I think the big issue here is Janet Yellen announcing a timetable for liquidation of the Fed balance sheet. That's $6 billion a month worth of bond selling. That's going to push rates up. It's trading down the dumps now relative to other banks because they had a bad trading quarter. And, trading is everything if you're a Goldman Sachs or a Morgan Stanley. So, it's not like Goldman Sachs forgot how to trade. What follows bad quarters answer good quarters. I think that when they announce earnings on October 18th, this stock could well scream. Also, there's a deregulation play here. You don't need to repeal Dodd-Frank. You just need to do a few rule changes, and that drops straight to the bottom line of Goldman Sachs. And it's a laggard. This thing has not moved while, Apple, Amazon, all these guys were up 40, 50%. So this is your classic laggard rotation play. That's enough reasons for me to buy the stock.
I'll take the other side of that trade all day long, but I'll save me for last. Michael, where's your Goldman Sachs play?
My Goldman Sachs play is pretty much in line with you, Matt. Unfortunately,
Fortunately, baby, we're going to make money. Come on now.
No, we are going to make money, but I mean, I don't have a high opinion of the company. Although,
my man,
to what JT was talking about in the federal government unwinding all of these big bond positions, we cannot forget who handles all of the bond sales.
That's right.
True.
For most
those are called
states
trading
and for the federal
profits.
government.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, trading profits. So you're absolutely right, JT. If they're really going to go through with this, they're going to show up on good old Lloyd's balance sheet and really showing some good earnings. But
wait, Michael, who controls where that bond buying and selling goes? Who gets that business? The government, right?
Well, the government.
Well, it's all done through its open market.
The Treasury.
Correct, and it's the Fed, man, the Fed banks. I've seen this. Do you think Donald Trump likes Lloyd Blankfein? I'll get to that in a couple minutes. That can change in the blink of an email from the White House to a Fed governor to the New York Fed.
That this guy in the White House has power.
No, but
I think that his power is waning, and he's really a nobody. But getting back to Goldman Sachs, if I may, I think off of that high at 255, the market is again just doing a very normal correction. The movement that we've seen from April until now is total sideways. So that kind of clues me in that there's likely an additional down leg to come. Maybe the stock drops below 210, but I doubt it's going to get too much further than 200. And then I'm going to be with JT and I'm going to be with Mike and likely with you, Matt. You'll load up.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you how these bond sales work, by the way. It's all done through the open market, through open bidding. And what it does do is it increases the volume in the market, the trading volume. So everybody's going to be making money on this, not just Goldman Sachs. Bond volumes have been terrible as long as they've been trading in the low twos.
Right. True. I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. First of all, guys, full interest disclosure, I've been a Goldman Sachs guy for years. I knew the head of GSAM, know a lot of guys at Goldman, know a lot of partners, and they always give me shit when we go drinking. I'd sell the shit out of this firm. I think it sucks. It used to be the Death Star. They were featured on the cover of Rolling Stone. What was it, 8, 10 years? It was the giant vampire squid sucking on the face of America. Roaches, Twinkies, and Goldman Sachs would survive an atomic explosion because Goldman, while one arm of it was telling you to buy the nuclear explosion, they'd be selling the other side of it. Loved Goldman Sachs. It's my Gordon Gekko trade. I was one of the only financial professionals, along with Jeffrey Gunlack from Double Line and like 3 other dudes who I don't need a name. It was the only one of the financial professionals, folks, who not only predicted that Trump would win, as Citi, Goldman, and JP Morgan predicted, Hillary wins running away, and if Trump wins, there'll be a 10 to 15% market implosion. I said they're wrong, they're full of shit. Trump wins, we get a 10 to 15%. Put that out to my members, and like I said, they made 500, 600% returns, $150,000, 3 or 4 of my members made with 20 contracts before the election here. So we rode this. So don't get me wrong, guys. I loved Goldman, but when you get this type of bullshit, when Lloyd Blankfein, so it's for the past, 3, 4 earnings periods, guys, their FIC has sucked. And if you don't know what FIC is, it's fixed income, currency, and commodity. Their trading divisions are awful. That was the Death Star, man. That was their nuclear reactors. So here's Lloyd Blankfein. He set up his Twitter account like 3 months ago. You know what the dude does? He trolls Trump on Twitter. That's the day I got bearish, and we've been started getting bearish on Goldman Sachs. Is, hey man, if you got you're the commanding officer, okay? your ship ain't doing that well. Why don't you go work on the departments that ain't working so well instead of sitting on the bridge on your phone trolling the president? JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley are where I'd put my money. Jamie Dimon, he lost me too on his last earnings call, which turned into his 28th, whatever the hell it is, presidential run. Can't stand these guys doing this crap. And the whole Trump's a racist, Steve Mnuchin and Gary Cohn need to leave the White House, and they didn't. So guys, every one of these pullbacks here to date, this is, let me go with this one. This is Jim Comey. I'm a Boy Scout, and I got dirt on Trump. He's going to be impeached. The next day, the market going, well, then you committed perjury. Rip your face off, rally sideways. Here's the first nuclear, we'll wipe you off the face of the earth, and some Donald Trump Jr. email pullback right here. Rip your face, rally sideways. Here is the fire and fury comment out of Trump sitting in his golf club in New Jersey. And then the next week, Trump's a racist, and Gary Cohn and Steve Mnuchin, if they leave the White House, we're in trouble. Every one of these pullbacks year to date has been political or geopolitical. It ain't earnings. It ain't Janet being dovish or whatever. These are political pullbacks, guys, and they have been BTFD. The fact that Goldman Sachs and Lloyd Blankfein, he's got more time to spend on Twitter than getting earnings up, means you sell it. Last week, and somebody wrote in the chat box here, Facebook, and I know we're getting short on time, sell Facebook. Here's my little bit of a rant. San Bernardino, California, a guy and his wife, girl, whatever, mow down citizens. The FBI, the U.S. government says, hey, can you all unlock their iPhone because there might be other terrorist attacks we can get intel and save lives? What did Tim Cook say? No. Privacy concerns. Are you kidding me?
He said you should have come to us first.
That's not what he said, John. Let me finish.
And then
Let me finish, John. I didn't interrupt you. I didn't interrupt you, John. He said no for privacy concerns. Last week, Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO of Facebook, says, we're going to turn over all the data on potentially Russia buying $100 grand in Facebook ads, which swung the election in Trump's favor. Any of these CEO folks that start doing this type of stuff, you have to wonder what they're spending their time on. So I am not a Goldman Sachs. You want to make money in the financials, it's JP Morgan or Morgan Stanley. You got to sell Lloyd here, folks. He's way past his prime, and I'm going to leave it at that. So, Mike, what do you have to say on that stuff, or we can move on to the next stock? Anybody, JT or Michael?
I actually think that I like your statement, and I just want to kind of put out a news flash, because this goes a slap in the face for our president. Roy Moore wins the Alabama GOP Senate primary.
Oh, he did. Yeah,
he did.
This is the guy who's brandishing a handgun at his rally.
Yeah. Yes.
All politics is local. Tip O'Neill said that, JT. That's how you win elections.
On the bright side, I live a couple miles from Trump's golf course, so if anything happens, I'm gone right away. I don't have to worry about anything.
You won't even see the nuclear flash.
No, I'll just be vaporized. It's all good.
Exactly. Hey, guys, we're getting close to wrapping, so let's go top to bottom. Mike, JT, and Michael, what are your personal trades? What's a juicy trade that you got on right now that you like, as opposed to us take? I think we got at least 4 out of we got the top 4. So, Mike, what are you liking personally right now?
Right now, I'm actually in a really cautious mode right now with this market until it kind of figures out a direction here. But I still like biotech a lot, and I've been playing with BMY. I really like that setup there. It's right at that gap, and it looks like it's poised to run right back through it again after it spends another maybe a week or so cooling off. I got a little heated. But I like that, and I also like Gilead, another name that's just been beaten the hell out of lately, and they've been buying options on this thing into January like there's no tomorrow and has a massive short interest. I think if the market takes off, biotech gets back in vogue again, has had a nice little breather here, and that's my next sector I'm looking for a rotation back into.
Awesome, Mike. Appreciate it. JT, what give us one of your knock it out of the parks?
Well, first half of the year was FANG, FANG, FANG. Second half of the year, FANG sideways and range, and you buy value domestics. Steels, railroads, airlines, metals producers, gold, silver, even oil and energy are starting to move now. So that is going to be your play for the second half of the year. And we may have a ping pong market where FANGs go up one day and then down the next, and the domestics rise with not much net movement in the overall indexes. But I do think all the indexes close at the highs of the year at the end of the year.
Awesome, JT. Appreciate it. And folks, you can, a little over a month from now, JT, you can join us out in Lake Tahoe for a good day and a half of a spirited debate like this. Michael, how about you, my friend? What's a knock it out of the park trade for you currently?
Well, I have two core positions that I just carry probably until the second coming. I'm short bonds and I'm long gold. And I make my adjustments. I don't add to the core in terms of, taking it off or, then re-adding. I then trade options around it. So in gold, being long gold, I look to, just buy puts, the puts accordingly. Same thing, short the 30-year. And I've done it in so many tranches, over the months. And then I just control that with TLT.
By the way, I'm doing a webinar tomorrow on the best trade I've seen in 50 years. It just so happens to be long gold, short treasuries.
I'm pretty sure that was John. I thought you were going to say Matt Buckley predicts Trump win and market rally 5%. That should have been your best.
At a certain point, you're going to wear that one out. People are going to get tired of hearing about that one.
Yeah, but that's only because a handful of people made it and got it right. But anyway, folks, let's.
Some people only right once a decade.
Still owe me a steak dinner because of that, man. I'm taking you up in Tahoe.
I know. I'll do it at Tahoe. By the way, the Mad Hedge Top Gun Masterminds Conference will be at Lake Tahoe, November 3rd, 4th. You can go to either the Mad Hedge or Top Gun websites to buy tickets there, and it's going to be a total blast for everybody. And it's already snowing.
I'm sending JT fishing with Fredo when we go drinking. But folks, here we go. Here's my juicy trade. And this is what I squeeze these two words together, man. It's a trade and a hedge. I call it a tredge. This is nuts. And when you hear an options trader say this is nuts, you better sit up in your chair. I mean, Mike said he got his start back in the 2008. He remembers volatility, Mike, you probably remember the VIX going from its resting heart rate of whatever the hell it was that day up to 90.
Oh, my God. It was unreal.
50 to 90.
Yeah. So I was in the CBOT that day, guys. So this is stupid. Look at the headlines here. And if you didn't watch Trump's speech at the UN he wasn't, pounding a Khrushchev shoe on the table, but we're going to wipe you from the face of the earth. What the VIX do? Flat.
It went down
down a little bit.
It's because everybody's hedged out there. What?
Well, and nobody believes him.
But here's Mike. That's my point. Is who's hedged out there? What's institutions, guys like everybody on this thing tonight. Hey, retail traders, wake the F up. If you don't have SPY and SPX puts out to October or long VIX calls, you're nuts.
I've been long VXX November calls since a month ago, and I
there you go,
webinar and told everybody to go buy some to hedge your account. It's the cheapest hedge you're going to get for the next couple of months.
Folks, look at this. Something has happened every month for the past, fill in the blank since Trump got elected to freak the market the hell out. Comey, this, Fire and Fury, the Cohn and Mnuchin. Look at this. Rip your face off, rally off the 50-day. If you don't have some cheap insurance in your portfolio, you deserve to get obliterated. And I'm saying that with all seriousness here, man. This is stupid. This is stupid where we are right now. If back in the day, this was before the Fed decided to get involved in capitalism, which was like the Pope saying there's no hell to Catholics. On this type of statement that we're going to start shooting down, B-1 bombers that don't even fly in our airspace, the VIX would be up 10, 15, 20% in the blink of an eye. It's not, I call it the Fred Sanford, guys. None of these have been the clutch your chest, I'm coming, Elizabeth, Fred Sanford. It's going to happen. I hate sounding like I'm the crazy guy on I-95 with my tinfoil hat on the exit, but it's going to. We all know that. And what's that old Wall Street statement? You only know who's swimming naked when the tide goes out. The tide's going to go out, folks. I've been saying for the past 6 months. I know I still got a lot of buddies in a couple rings of the Pentagon. Admiral Swift, who just announced his retirement, the Commander-in-Chief Pacific Fleet. He didn't get recommended by the CEO to the CEO to the president to fleet up. Let's just say October is most likely something is go time. Now the debt ceiling Trump outflanked the his own freaking party by going with the Nancy and Chuck on the debt ceiling. But guys, the right side of this chart is fraught with bad. I want to be wrong. I don't want to be right. I'd love for my hedges to quote lose money. I don't think they do because all my longs are green. But guys, my juicy trade is if you don't have an ejection seat, you deserve to get shot down. And I'm done. All right, guys. Mike, how do we get a hold of you? What you do?
Hey guys. I told Ronald in the live chat we tried to get to WB by then. You want to do a few seconds on that before we wrap up?
Shit, man. I'll crack another bottle of wine. You told him what stock, David?
WB.
Well, I'm going to have to punt on that one. What the hell?
Weibo.
Who said that and who knows it? Because I'm going to pass it over to you. Does anybody trade?
I've traded it. God, it's one hell of an ugly chart. I mean, it's had this gorgeous move. It's coming in here. It's lost all the fast momentums. It's down the bottom of the Bollinger Band here. I mean, it's a China name, right? I'm pretty sure it's a China name.
I was just going to ask you, Mike, what's it do? Can somebody?
Yeah, I believe it's China. It's Chinese internet space, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
It's topping out with the rest of the fangs. That's what's happening.
Yeah, it's exactly it. It's on my list of avoid. It's not on a go-to list here. I wouldn't be looking. I think it can go lower. I'm going to make a mistake.
If you're long, get out. How about that advice?
Either get out or, as we all know as options traders, pound the hell out of the thing into the dirt. You just don't have to get out. You could go out and buy some pretty cheap puts. If you think, I mean, that's a scary looking chart. I don't trade the stock, but that looks. I don't think
the puts are cheap anymore with that chart.
What goes up fast comes back down.
Yeah, look at that, man. That's getting hypoxic. But John, your point, they might not be cheap anymore. But if you think that thing is going to freaking implode even harder, they're very cheap when it implodes even harder. So it just depends on what you're willing to do. So David, let me pull up the chat real quick. I think we covered, Intuitive Surgical, anybody in ISRG?
I don't touch it.
Wait, hold on. Kamal Gupta, enjoying discussion on Amazon, Goldman Sachs. They are all wrong. 7% correction soon coming. That's awesome, man. Ron's in puts. Hey, Ron, man, you're my spirit animal. That's what I said. Buy some puts on the damn thing. You're welcome. And Ron also asked about Facebook, but I think we kind of covered that in our FANG discussion. Anybody? I went off on Zuckerberg. I can't stand liberals who say we're all for privacy and protecting our customers, and then Zuckerberg turns around and says we'll give you all the data on our advertisers. I do Facebook ads. I think that's scary to business. Anybody? I'm long, but again, that's me in a flight suit. Me in my Gordon Gekko suit, I'd be long Facebook. Anybody got a druther on Facebook? Anybody long, short?
Too much political heat around that name right now.
I'm telling you, that's terrifying to me as an advertiser. So, Mark, at the drop of a hat, you're going to turn over my shit when you won't even unlock a terrorist iPhone? Come on now. JT or Michael, you guys, any Facebook love or hate?
It's like the rest of the fangs. I'm out of it and watching, buy it maybe 10% down. I'm not involved right now. Got out of my position in July.
These things are all still good day trades, scalps, long or short, depending upon the action that day. But yeah, there's no good. I don't think there's a good long-term setup at the moment. JT's got our out trade on that one, but Mike and I agree, man. This tax thing, I don't disagree with JT that giving us a one-pager and answering questions for 10, 15 minutes and leaving was redonkulous. Now it's put up or shut up. If it's a shut up tomorrow, I think it's look out below, man. If it's there's some meat on this, let's grab our pot of gold from County Cork, Ireland, and bring it home. I think that's a rally. It doesn't matter what the fundamentals are; it's the perception of it. So, that's
they can propose the second coming tomorrow, but if they can't get it done in Congress, it's all meaningless, and that's been the pattern so far.
Yeah, but the market will buy on the hope.
That's exactly
right.
Maybe for a day.
Guys, we're overthinking it. This will trade on emotion, man. It will. This whole market's been going up on the hope and change rally. The only thing that Trump's been able to do, in my opinion, to help this market go up, John, you alluded to it, is Franken-Dodd. That ridiculous legislation that Mnuchin's been able to gut with the stroke of a pen. That's been about it. So we really need to show. What was it? The Wendy's commercial from the '80s, man. Show me the beef.
Where's
If the market. yeah, if the market wakes up to there's no beef in this thing, man, that'll be the look out below movement. And then, cream of some young guy in North Korea is the other one. But
yeah, they can pretend there's beef coming for 6 more months, though. And I think that's what we're going to get.
We'll see. We'll see, John. I mean, I think we're getting hypoxic up here. I call it a hold your nose rally. I think you just gotta, I'm cautiously bullish, which means, hey, I'll bid this thing up. You have to trade the market you have, not the one you want. Not that I wanted a down market, but it's stupid that we're up here. But hey, man, I don't care.
I'll make it simple on the S&P
for a really long time, especially when interest rates are at 0. Remember, in the 80s, it took Tokyo 3 years to top out, and they had interest rates at 2%. So
this year on the S&P,
where else do you put your money? There's nothing else to buy.
Mm-hmm. What's that, Michael?
This year on the S&P, if you're one of those people that's been waiting for a 3 or 5% pullback to deploy money, you haven't gotten one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, and let's wrap up here, guys. I'll give everybody a chance to talk about how we get in touch with everybody. When I was in Chicago a couple months ago talking to some of my old partners, they're like, hey, Whiz, take a look at the trading floor. We got 28, 29, 30-year-old, I'll call them kids, not to tell my age, but they've never seen a down market.
Yeah, they've never seen a stock go down.
They've never seen a panic. So when I didn't say if, I said when this thing rolls over, there will be zero liquidity, man, to get out of stuff. It'll be bid-ask spreads that you can drive a C-17 Galaxy through. So that really,
the ETF thing will make it much, much worse. There are now more listed ETFs than there are stocks in the market.
You nailed it, man. That went on the bullseye.
ETFs, they go from like $100 bid to a penny bid in 2 seconds.
That's exactly, the liquidity in ETFs will simply disappear. So guys,
it'll just stop. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think we did our job tonight if we don't scare a little bit of the hell out of everybody, because it's easy to trade an up market, man. But like I said, we got portfolio managers out there swinging some big money, they're late 20, 30 something, getting drunk, Goldman Sachs portfolio manager at a bar tonight. And when they see panic, who knows, you're looking at some old salts here. Obviously, John's our Moses here. He holds seniority, but we've all seen some bad times, and we know how to engage ourselves, but we also know to be hedged. So hopefully you guys hedge. All right, Mike, how do we get a hold of you and what you do at Smart Option Trading or Alpha Shark?
Again, hey guys, thank you very much for having me on. It's been actually a privilege being able to go head to head with you guys on here. Like you, by the way, one thing I want to add, I have people that say to me, this is the new market paradigm. It's never going down again. And I look at them like, are you out of your freaking mind?
Oh, Christ almighty.
You've never seen what this market can do when it really gets scared, and it's not going to be quick. It'll pull back for a year or 2 years or 3 years. I mean, these can be long-term. Anyway, if you want to see me doing options trades, join us over at Alpha Shark. There with Andrew. We do options trading there all day long. We call it our trades. And if you're looking for some help in your trading or you want to learn how to trade options, hit me up at smartoptiontrading.com. or on Twitter at OptionsMike. And thanks again, guys. It's been a privilege being here with you guys and really enjoyed it.
You bet, Mike. Next time I'm up in Jersey, we'll go grab some cheesesteaks there. JT, I know how we get a hold of you, man. You're going to get a hold of JT and I in the beginning of November 3rd and 4th. Join JT and I live in beautiful Lake Tahoe and hopefully do some skiing. We're definitely going to drink some Camus, John. But how does everybody get a hold of you and what you do with the Mad Hedge Fund Trader?
Just do a Google search, madhedgefundtrader.com or John Thomas. We're easy to find. And we have a daily research newsletter, trade alert service, fantastic options trading products like Mad Options Trader, which is run by a certain Matt Buckley. And if you want to, listen to a Marine humiliate a Navy guy, come into one of our webinars.
Oh, for Christ's sake! Oh my God, man!
Trading opportunities.
It's too early out there to be doing that much drinking, John. But I appreciate it, man. Thanks for your service.
You need it for the antifreeze, for the temperature. We drink for medicinal purposes up at Tahoe.
If that's the purpose, John, you're gonna live forever, man. I think you're embalmed. Yeah. All right, Michael. How about logical signals and what you do?
Well, if you want to get a hold of me, just Michael at logicalsignals.com or Michael at mjf1partners.com. Both will come directly to me. Revamping the trade room. Going to do more of it of coaching, which seems to be in favor right now. A lot of people are having problems remaining consistent with their trading or just learning some different new tricks in trading. And I'm also revamping my website. So the best way to get hold of me is email.
Hey, Michael, I think you're right, man. It's funny because people are like, I don't need a coach. Hey, well, Tiger Woods, he's funny, but Tiger Woods, you look at all these quarterbacks have coaches. Tiger Woods got a swing coach. He's got a putting coach. I think coaching is the way to go as well. So if you're looking for some good coaching, definitely give Michael a call, because that one-on-one, sometimes in these trade rooms, you don't get that one-on-one attention. So I definitely look into giving Michael a call there. Folks, it's real easy for me. I was laughing with John about we'll be in Lake Tahoe and maybe skiing. Just go to topgunoptions.com and there you go. There's your ski slope. If you don't know how to spell the word options, like some of my Marine buddies who shall remain nameless, all the way up to, folks who are doing reverse calendar, butterfly twist, iron condors with selling puts. I don't know. I made that up. We have the program for you. Beginner, intermediate, advanced. You can do like a 2-week test flight and check out what we do here at TGO. We're very passionate about what we do. We love it. It's spirited. JT and I have a great time in our Mad Options Trader service. We're going to have a great time in Lake Tahoe as well. So, all right, gents, again, it was like Mike said, it was an honor to be with you guys. Love spirited debate. Love not having groupthink because everybody's thinking right. We're all thinking wrong, except where we wrapped up with, hey man, get some freaking hedges on, please, because we don't want to see people get wiped out, man. It's we would all love to be wrong and say these hedges aren't needed, but I think we all have enough salt and pepper around our temporals to know that the music's going to stop eventually, and we're all going to have a chair. It just we hope you do as well too. So, David, with that, man, I'm going to turn over the pilot and command controls to you. And thanks for having me as the host. And whenever you need another B team, give me a call, my friend.
No, you're definitely not the B team.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate you being here. And yeah, great show. Yeah, so for everyone watching, be sure to hit the YouTube subscribe button if you haven't yet to get updates on future shows. Also, be sure to join us next week for the Crowd Forecast News show on Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern. And then the next episode of Analyze Your Trade on Tuesday at 9 p.m. So between the two shows, a few of the people I have booked for next week are Barry Rosen, Ron Haight, Larry Gaines, Rob Hanna, Neil Batho, and Dean Jenkins. So I just want to thank all my guests again for this week. Mike Pisani of AlphaShark.com, John Thomas of MadHedgeFundTrader.com, Michael Filighera of LogicalSignals.com, and Matt Buckley of TopGunOptions.com. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, David. Good night, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.